Hello and welcome. It is the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast, pregame show edition. I'm Johnny Venerable, the co-host, playmaker, Brittan Golden. We're going to hear from Brack in Carolina in just a couple minutes. The Arizona Cardinals travel out east, hopefully taking care of business, Brittan Golden, against Bryce Young's Carolina Panthers. We got injuries, we got inactives, and we got major storylines for the Arizona Cardinals, who, with a win, move to 8-7 and keep their playoff hopes alive in the NFC West. Brittan Golden, we talked about it last week. Take care of business against New England? Check. This week, take care of business against Carolina. Can they do it, and how will they do it?
Oh, it's just like last week, right? This is a team that's, they've showed a little bit of push the last, 4 or 5 weeks that they've played, but this is a game that you got to win. And it's got to be a game that you go in knowing that you have to dominate early and dominate throughout this game, because you need to make a statement before you have the big showdown next weekend.
Absolutely. We're fired up about our presenting partners today. Of course, our friends in Glendale, Sanderson Ford, as well as all of our friends here. Play Gila. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass. We've got a capacity crowd on hand today. It's Kegs and Eggs. Early kickoff this morning. Appreciate everybody coming out. We're going to be hanging out here throughout the duration of the game, and of course, pregame, halftime, and postgame show. Everybody be sure, drop a like here on a pregame show. Let's talk a little bit about those inactives today. So Yelda Froldhold supposedly was going to be out in this game, had an illness. He is in this week, but no Paris Johnson Jr. Kelvin Beachum, old grandpa, taking over at left tackle. How significant is it of a loss, Brittan Golden? No Paris Johnson Jr. He's going to miss his first game, really his first meaningful snaps since he came to the NFL as a rookie last year.
Hey, it's a big loss. Like, anytime you lose your left tackle, it hurts, right? And Beachum did a hell of a job earlier this season filling in at right tackle. Right tackle to left tackle is a different jump, right? You go from front side to blind side in this situation, and, it's a big loss, but, the way Beachum played earlier this season, I'm looking forward to seeing it and hoping that he can continue the job.
Yeah, we touched on it on Friday's show, folks, that Kelvin Beachum, his natural position actually is left tackle. If you remember a couple seasons ago, DJ Humphries couldn't go late in the season at Dallas. Kelvin Beachum substituted in, was fantastic. I was at the game. He held Micah Parsons to no sacks in that game. And again, say what you want, he's had an opportunity about a month off since Jonah Williams has been back. Get his body right? He's been, a phenomenal addition this year. He's been their swing tackle. It's week 16 in the NFL. No offensive line is perfect. No roster is perfect. The Cardinals, unlike a lot of teams, have been relatively healthy during the season. So, I think it's important to kind of contextualize. Would you want Paris Johnson Jr. out today? Absolutely. Do you need him? Should you need him to beat a fledgling, embarrassing Carolina Panthers team? Unequivocally, no, Brittan Golden. You ought to be able to beat Carolina without Paris today.
No, I agree. You shouldn't need Paris to win this football game today. Right? Your offense needs to come out, like we've talked about this entire season, and make a statement early. And they've done that in some instances this season. But, I think Beachum is going to be fine. I think you're okay with Paris missing this game. You would rather him miss this game than you would see him miss that LA Rams game next week.
No Trey Benson with the ankle injury. DeMercado is on injured reserve. It means it's finally break glass in case of emergency. Amari DeMercado is out. Michael Carter in for the first time this year. Folks have been clamoring, myself, Brack, Brittan Golden, for Michael Carter to come back into the lineup for the Arizona Cardinals. He had those phenomenal games at the tail end of last year with Kyler Murray, specifically that Philadelphia game. Electric out of the backfield. What are you hoping to see now for Michael Carter to kind of spell James Conner today?
I mean, it's really just the compliment that he showed last season, especially at the end of the season like we're in right now. I think he just needs to come in, make a statement when he gets his opportunities to touch the football. Again, right, break tackles, pick up first downs, be that swing back out of the backfield on third down if you got to dump the ball to him. right? I mean, he's done this. He's been in this league for a little bit. He knows how to prepare himself. I think this is a guy that we've all been, kind of hoping to see earlier this season, but this is his opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to hear from Bo Brack right around the corner. He's in Carolina. He's ready to go. So are we, live from Gila River Resorts and Casinos. That's right around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. But before we get to that, a big thank you to everybody here, the capacity crowd on hand at Gila, Play at Gila. We're fired up about the partnership with our friends at Play at Gila. We're fired up to give you an opportunity right now to experience a VIP atmosphere, not only today, but at the end of the year. The Arizona Cardinals host the San Francisco 49ers. Winners will enjoy 2 tickets to the event, brought to you by our friends at Play Gila. On top of that, you're going to get an on-field pregame experience. You're going to get lunch at the Morgan Athletic Club, meet and greet with Big Red and the cheerleaders, plus a VIP stadium parking experience, and then, of course, the coup de grace, the chef's kiss. You're going to get a 2-night stay at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. All you got to do to enter, visit playathila.com/Cardinals. You do you at Play at Gila Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for more details. And that matchup, the season finale, could very well decide the NFC West if the Cardinals continue to win. And speaking of winning, we're always winning with our friends at Sanderson Ford. Their 65-acre facility makes it the largest Ford dealership in the nation. They're bringing out good vibes this year. We know what they did all week with Operation Santa. We appreciate them. They appreciate you checking out their 2024 F-150s plus 3.9% APR financing for just 66 months. Plus, they're going to give you up to $4,000 in cash back on those vehicles. Similar savings on over 900 new and pre-owned vehicles. Check them out right now. They've got a first-class facility. They've got a diner there. It's a truck acumen you can't get anywhere else. Again, Sanderson Ford, we're fired up. We're fired up. We got Bo Brack, Damon Dog, ready to hop on the show today?
I don't know if we do yet, but I'll work on that.
Yeah, Damon, of course, crushing it behind the scenes at Play at Gila. We're crushing it with all of you. Be sure to drop a like in the comments. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Big game for the Arizona Cardinals today. Let's jump in to the Birdgang Blitz. And we mentioned it. Grandpa's turn. That's how they call him in the Cardinals locker room. It's Kelvin Beachum. Grandpa's old cough medicine. We need some today. Kelvin Beachum, can he hold up on the left side of the offensive line for the Arizona Cardinals? Of course, Jonah Williams on the right side, Isaiah Adams. It looks like Evan Brown is going to play at left guard, and of course, Yelda will play today at center. What are you hoping to see from Kelvin Beachum? Again, not a who's who, a murderer's row on that Carolina defensive line. Jadeveon Clowney, they got some okay names. But can Kelvin Beachum hold up one last time? This could be his last start ever.
No, I think it's just about being consistent for Beach today. I mean, just getting out there, getting back in the swing of things. Yeah, you've had a few weeks off since Jonah Williams has come back. But I think for Beachum, it's just going out there, being consistent, keeping Kyler Murray clean in that pocket, especially on his blind side. He doesn't have to do too much today.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be Superman. He just has to go out there and get the job done.
Yeah, I remember this offseason, we were at, I think it was the Super Bowl, and Kelvin Beachum's there. He's always promoting his philanthropy efforts, always giving back to the community. He's doing the Boys and Girls Club, right? And that's a big part of his life, and it just speaks to the character. He's close with Larry Fitzgerald. And Bo and I had a chance to connect with Kelvin Beachum, and I think this is why I've been so passionate that I didn't think it was the right move to move off of him at right tackle, but he just said, I want to throw my name into an opportunity to start for this team this year. And I remember a lot of people kind of scoffed at that. And then you saw Jonah Williams leave the lineup against Buffalo, and you saw how well Kelvin Beachum played throughout the rest of this year. And I don't think it was, a coincidence that the minute they pivoted off of Beachum and got him out of the lineup, the Cardinals started to, flail around offensively. And I know it's not apples to oranges. You want Paris Johnson Jr. in there. But there are a hell of a lot of teams around the NFL landscape that would love to have Kelvin Beachum start for them, whether it be left tackle or right tackle.
No, I agree. It's a blessing to have a swing tackle like that. That if your main guy goes down, either side can come in and play the right side, play the left side, and you don't really miss a beat. And I agree. When he came in this season, earlier in the season, when Jonah Williams went down, they didn't really miss a beat at all on that offensive line, right? And it was one of those situations where when Jonah came back and they started struggling on that offensive line, there was a lot of chat saying, I mean, you should have just left Beach in. I don't think Jonah Williams was ready to come back. But, I mean, We don't make those decisions,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and it all comes to fruition, right? So it comes back around full circle. Yes, Paris can't go, but yes, you feel comfortable with putting Beach in there in that lineup in that position.
We feel comfortable to welcome the co-host of this show at Bank of America Stadium today. It's Mr. Bo Brack joining PHNX Cardinals pregame show. Bo Brack, how are we feeling? You're not looking balmy. I don't know why the hell you're not on the field. 35 degrees. It looks like you're maybe in Carolina enemy territory. Give us the overall sense of the team, the atmosphere there as the Cardinals look to go above 500 at 8-7.
Yeah, it's a balmy 34 degrees outside, but the sun is shining. It should get a little bit warmer. It's not too, it's football weather, right? You're not going to have to deal with any elements. It's not too bad. I mean, I'm not sitting there enjoying an old-fashioned like Brittan Golden at the Gila River Resorts and Casinos, but I think that this is decent conditions for the Arizona Cardinals to do and run whatever offense they want to run today. But it was looking a little touch and go there this morning with Yelda Froholt added to the injury report this morning. Officially was a questionable addition, and then he's active. So, it looks like they avoided not having two of their key offensive linemen in this game. But you guys were just talking about Calvin Beachum. Even Christian Jones didn't get a chance to be active today. Jackson Barton was elevated. He played very nicely in a, filling in there for Jonah Williams at one point. I think Jackson Barton now becomes your backup swing tackle for the foreseeable future.
But, Bo, isn't this why you drafted like a Tip Ryman? And I know I bang on the pick, but you ought to be able to go into a game like this against Carolina, a team that the Dallas Cowboys basically, took to the woodshed last week. And it's like, yes, you don't have Paris, but put Tip Ryman next to Kelvin Beachum, run right behind Jonah Williams and Isaiah Adams. We're not talking excuses today if the Cardinals lose. They're not a Paris Johnson Jr. injury away from let's just start making excuses, right?
Yeah. No, not by any means. I mean, there's a lot of confidence that they should be able to do a lot of the same things they did with Paris Johnson Jr., and that's not an indictment on the 6th overall pick. I mean, you're a better lineup and better protection group with PJJ there, but I think that they feel like they can continue to run their offense without him. But you're right. I mean, that's why you bring in extra protection. They were bringing in Kelvin Beachum as an eligible blocker last week, kind of a 6th offensive lineman a couple of times. I don't know if they'll run that with Jackson Barton, but I think that they'll definitely have a lot of 13 personnel packages today to maybe help out Kyler Murray. But I mean, they're going against the defense that's surrendered the most points in the NFL. They continue to have, a strength against a weakness. I mean, if you look into fantasy football, like the Panthers have given up the most points to the running back position, the second most points to the tight end position. And what does the Cardinals offense run through? The running back and their tight ends. It should be a nice little day for both James Conner and Trey McBride.
Yeah, speaking of James Conner, that's the next topic of discussion here on a pregame show. Conner's caravan, you mentioned it, Bo. Carolina, easily the worst team in the NFL against the run, have surrendered 2,400 rushing yards this year for an average of just under 175 per game. And you assume that, yes, even with the ascension, Brittan Golden, of Michael Carter, this is why you extend James Conner, to be able to run the wheels off toward the end of the season in pivotal matchups in inclement weather. We remember what he did against Philadelphia and Pittsburgh at the end of last year. Is this just a kind of a meat and potatoes game where hey, number 6 needs to touch the ball, a minimum 25, 30 times today?
Oh, I agree. This is one of those games where you're going to lean heavily, right? This is a game you should win, first of all.
Right.
But this is a game you got to lean heavily on that run game. Petzing wants to get this run game. It's his go-to thing every week.
Yep.
But I think you got to find a way to get James Conner started early. And like you said, 25 to 30 times, whether it's, catching the ball or handoffs, he's got to touch the ball 25 to 30 times this game. And if the offensive line can give you the production that we saw last week, right, and running the football, there's no reason you don't come out of here with 200 yards plus rushing in this game.
Well, what do you think it'll kind of be more sold out? We've got James Conner. You've got Michael Carter, who is presumably RB2 this week. And then you've got Kyler Murray. A lot of people critical of K1 post-bye. He hasn't been using his legs that often. Now, I would argue he's played some pretty good defenses. Is this an opportune time to maybe try some of those direct runs that we saw from K1 earlier this year that have led to big offensive outputs for AZ?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that Carolina is one of the more susceptible defenses to that. I think that you should see, whatever the rushing props are for our sweet K1, probably hit the over on that. I would assume that that's a pretty solid bet today. considering it's been down as far as his legs, the usage of his legs the last couple of weeks, last 5 weeks. I mean, it's been non-existent. I think you'd be hard pressed to find most games him go over 5 carries, which is nice to preserve your quarterback. But at the same time, look, it's that time of season where your game plan should include everything, including one of your best weapons, and that's Kyler Murray getting out and running the football. So, and also keep him nice and warm, right? It'll get the juices going, and K1 can stay warm out here in the the sub 40-degree weather.
Let's keep it going on the flip side here on the Birdgang Blitz. Forever young and potentially forever bad. It's Bryce Young here on a Birdgang Blitz. And, we joke about it. Bryce Young was borderline unplayable, unwatchable throughout the first season and a half of his career. Then he was benched for Andy Dalton. Now he's back. And at least he's playing, I would argue, like league average quarterback play. He's got about 8-9 touchdowns, say 8 or 9 picks on the season. And while he shouldn't scare anybody on the Cardinal defense, he does present one thing. He's got some mobility in his game. The Cardinals very susceptible to mobile quarterbacks this year. We saw what Jaden Daniels, Jordan Love did to this defense. But I'll start with you. Any concerns, even though he's undersized, with the mobility of somebody like Bryce Young? Could they exploit that for a Cardinal front seven that doesn't have Mack Wilson today?
I don't believe so. I still think they're well equipped to contain Bryce Young. And I think that he can have a decent game between the 20s. That'd be fine. But if they can continue to really kind of clamp down in the red zone, I think it becomes tough for a guy like Bryce Young. I mean, we've seen it on our side of things that if you can make life tough where it's a little bit tighter and close to the end zone, that you can kind of contain him a little bit easier, take away some of the passing lanes for a guy like Bryce Young. Like, he might have some decent numbers by the end of the game, but as long as you keep his offense out of the end zone, and they've done that pretty well against these offenses that have struggled throughout the season, I think you should be fine. I think like he can continue his progress, but I don't think that this is going to be like a defining moment for Bryce Young to be like, see, they got it right with the 1-1 selection.
We are degenerate gamblers at times, Brittan Golden. We talk about our gross parlays. We have bet on and against Carolina many times here. What's the recipe for success for Nick Rallis' unit to basically not only prevent Carolina from doing what they want to do, but also do what this Cardinal defense really hasn't done all year, have those key takeaways?
No, it starts in that front seven again, right? Let's not miss it. Bryce Young has played some really good football the last 4 or 5 weeks, right? It started bad year one. It didn't start great when he first got in, but he started, as the seasons progressed, he's kind of started to find himself. He started to play some good football lately, but I think pressure, right? Make him uncomfortable. We talk about this every week, right? When this defense gets off after the quarterback, when they blitz, when they make the quarterback uncomfortable, but at the same time are able to keep him contained, right? Good things happen for this defense. So I think it's the same recipe. If you want to make him uncomfortable, you got to get people in his face. He's undersized as well. He's not as tall. He's not as big, right? Just try to find ways to make him move in the pocket, to make him uncomfortable, but you have to be able to keep him contained, and he will give you the football. We've seen it throughout last season, and even this season, he will turn that ball over. He will throw it to the other team. But it's going to start with that front seven creating pressure and causing havoc in the backfield.
Look, I love you all in the chat, but I resent you all saying that if I dog somebody and call them a fraud, that they will have a big game today. So how about this? Bryce Young's going to go off. He's going to have 4 touchdowns. Bo, go ahead.
I would just say that, I think the comparisons of Bryce Young and Kyler Murray are lazy just based on their height. But Kyler Murray is a better, more agile, more accurate, just better in almost every single facet than Bryce Young, and the Cardinals face him nearly every day in practice. Yeah. So, you're facing a very watered down version of Kyler Murray each and every day. I think that they're should be very well prepared for what the best that Bryce Young has to kind of give today.
This should be the best version of the Cardinals pass rush that we've seen all year because of the ascension of somebody like Darius Robinson. This, I believe, is his 4th or 5th game back. He had his first career sack last week against a bad O-line, similar kind of environment here with Carolina. Baron Browning, who, is not everybody my cup of tea, but certainly can get after the quarterback with some pressures. Can he finish again? Zaven Collins had a sack last week. You ought to be able, Brittan Golden, to generate enough pressure to make Bryce Young uncomfortable.
No, I agree, and you have to get after this early. This isn't something that you can kind of just, get through the early parts of this game with maybe getting if I'm Nick Rallis, I'm not gonna say send the house, but there's got to be times where throughout the first drive, second drive, whatever, you're sending pressure. Just let him know, like, we're not going to let you get your feet set. We're not going to let you be able to deliver the football like you want to. We're going to cause pressure. And I think a guy like Darius Robinson has got to do that up the middle. Like, find ways to push the pocket up the middle and force him to move.
Big thanks to everybody who has come out to Gila today. We had folks, if you can believe it, been here since 8:30 this morning, including our diehard Jessica. Jason from Texas drove all the way here. We're fired up. Ryan is here, a fellow diehard. The community is strong. Drop a like for them. We appreciate all of you. How about a tasty little parlay with our friends at Bet365? Let's jump into it because, again, we know like the play of the week is a Trey McBride anytime touchdown, right? You want to do it with your boosted bets, go ahead. But the parlay of the week, let's check it out. How about this, Brittan Golden? Under 47.5 points, okay? Cardinals offense has been hit or miss, and we know about Carolina's struggles. 47.5 seems like a lot. Speaking of a lot, I think Budda Baker continues his ascension up the NFL tackling leaderboard. 8+ tackles today for the newly re-signed Budda Baker. And then the coup de grace, the chef's kiss, Trey McBride over 69.5 receiving yards, which I believe would get him just at 1,000 yards receiving on the season. Right now, you can get that plus 700 with our friends at Bet365, the presenting sponsor today. You do you. Of course, use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Brittan, what do you think of the parlay?
I kind of like it.
You
Budda might hit 8+ in the first half.
That's
honestly.
right.
I think he's done it 5 or 6 times this season. I have McBride in a parlay for 50+ today, obviously. Sure. So I'm always on the McBride train. Also, I mean, this has got to be the week that he gets in the end zone, right? God,
I mean,
it's
we hope
every
so.
week. Listen, Damon. I have to listen to Damon complain about it every week. Damon needs Trey McBride to get in the end zone. It just never happens.
I mean, I got money on Trey McBride to find the end zone today, but I got to be honest, Johnny. Last week I told you I didn't like our parlay. I thought it was Garbo.
Yeah.
This week I'm feeling pretty good about it. I mean, I like that. I like the under. I like Budda Baker tackles, and I love Trey McBride.
Damon, he is not fraudulent. He is sincere. He did not like our parlay last week, and I think it went bust, belly up, because we were all in with the offense, all in with MHJ, and we're taking a week off, and we're going back to the well. What have we known to be true, Bo Brock, this year? Budda tackles, Trey McBride yardage, and the Cardinals offense underachieving in points. What do you like today? We're going into final predictions now. Bo, we discussed it on Friday. Any reason to believe the Cardinals won't get a dub and get a dub in a big way today?
When you look at the Cardinals' performance against sub-500 teams this season, nearly 29 points per game, and they've only surrendered just under 17 points per game. You look at that probably aligns with the under that we just talked about. It's going to be right around that. But, I anticipate very similar performance here from the Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon coach team, that they should come out and have this game in hand. Like I hope I'm not proven wrong here by a feisty Carolina group that has played the Chiefs tight, has played the Eagles tight. There really isn't any excuse with what's on the line for the Cardinals and that collision course that's still very on track right now against the Rams going into next week.
Brittan, we talk about sense of urgency, and I've teased this all week. I think it's imperative the Cardinals get off to a fast start. I don't think you can let this bad Carolina team stick around and give their fan base a reason to cheer into the fourth quarter. I think if the Cardinals, like they've done so many times this year, can score fast in the first quarter, that'll be all she wrote. But, Bo, Damon, they're of the mindset Cardinals win big today. I'm a little bit more conservative. I like the Cardinals by a field goal here. What's your kind of score prediction as we wrap up here on a pregame show?
I think this is a game that the Cardinals should win. It's very similar to last week, right? You come in, it's a little bit different because the weather's going to play a little bit of a factor. It's going to be a lot colder than it was in, State Farm Stadium. But I think this is a game that you have to come out, dominate fast, right? You get that run game going in the first drive, find a way to get points on the board early, and then allow the defense to create problems. I mean, this is a game that you should win. You need to win. I think it should be another game where you're able to score 30-plus points like you did last week. And, it was ugly last week. We saw an ugly 30 points scored. I think this has got to be more of an offense that comes out, starts fast, and finishes fast. We've seen it multiple times where they scored on the first drive and then fizzled out. This has got to be a game where you come out and similar to the first half against Buffalo. You come out, you score touchdown, even if it's touchdown, field goal, find a way to get points on the board on these first 3 drives and just kind of break their will early.
Yeah, you can't be punting. I don't want to see long Chad Ryland field goals here. If you're Drew Petzing, this is the game to tune up before an inevitable, hopefully meaningful showdown next Saturday in primetime against the LA Rams. This is your season right now. You're in the playoffs, for lack of a better term. You got to win out and get some help here for the NFC West. We need you to hit that like button, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Again, capacity crowd at hand. Big thanks to everybody here who came out early at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We're back for your definitive Arizona Cardinal halftime and post-game show. Brittan, Golden Damon, Bo Brack, Bank of America Stadium, Bo Brack. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you at the half.
We all silly like the mayor.